Are you ready to break free from the doubts and limits holding you back? Welcome to Embrace Your Value, where therapy meets coaching to help you unlock your true worth and take control of your life.
Hi, I'm Kristen, a trauma therapist dedicated to helping you heal, break old patterns, and reclaim your power.
And I'm Jen, your support coach, here to show you how to set fierce boundaries, embrace self compassion, and step boldly into the life you deserve.
So, whether you're stuck in self doubt or feeling lost, know this: your value isn't up for negotiation. It's time to own it.
Every week, we tackle real issues that challenge, inspire, and empower you to live with purpose and confidence.
So, grab your favorite drink, take a deep breath, and let's get started.
Because you're not here to play small, it's time to embrace your value.
Hi, welcome back to Embrace Your Value. And we have a very special guest today. Very excited to hear from her. She's going to have some great information for all of our listeners. And we're just so glad you're back here. And Jennifer, go ahead and introduce our special guest.
Thank you. So, I want to introduce to you my dear friend, Amber Harsche. And Amber is a beautiful woman who has spent years doubting her abilities as a mom and a wife. But everything changed for her when she joined her financial business 2 years ago. Through this journey, Amber has gained the confidence she once lacked. And now her husband, Mike, and she are partners in both life and business. They are building a team to help families gain confidence in their finances and achieve their dreams of a successful future. As a mom of four and a proud Gigi to her beautiful granddaughter, Amber is driven every day to be present and help her children succeed. Her mission is to show women that they have the power to shift their mindset, build their confidence, and do anything they set their minds to. The future is theirs to create. So, Amber, welcome. We are so excited to have you here. I am just going to let you take the floor and just tell us about yourself. Tell us anything you want to share, especially around your business and how you help others create the financial success that they want.
All right. First off, thank you for having me here today. I'm so excited to be here. So, yes, with my business, 2.5 years ago, my husband and I were in up to our eyeballs. I'm on a mission to help families that were exactly where we were. We had credit card debt. We didn't know where to go with it. We did not have anything in savings. We were very much living paycheck to paycheck. It was not a good feeling. It's very stressful when you feel like you're robbing Peter to, and 2.5 years ago, my friend came to me and said, "Hey, will you give me 30 minutes of your time? I would like to share what I'm doing." I was like, "Sure," because I'm normally that person that loves to support everybody in every way, shape, or form that I can. And it is amazing that 30 minutes changed my whole life. Honestly, I am a more confident person in my relationship with my husband, my business, being a mom, because they focus so much on personal development and growth and how letting trauma hold you back can be such a big thing. And all of those things can actually tie into like your financial health too, because you're stressed out, you're going to be more likely to not be eating the best or thinking about working on just yourself. You're constantly worried about your financial situation, whatever that looks like. And that can cause so much havoc on the rest of your life. So if people would look at like their finances just like they look at going to the doctor for their preventative things, I think that we would be off a lot better in the world, just because it's a huge focus that we seem to neglect, I think, sometimes. And that's where I love to help out. I have 4 children, so I'm very focused on helping parents model those good financial habits, which will in turn help their children. My oldest daughter is going to be 19 here next month, and she is moved out of the house already and is going to college and is raising my granddaughter, who is 3. And she's doing an incredible job, but she learned some of those things from things that I've taught her and not necessarily from school, where I feel like they also need to do a little bit more of teaching kids about finances and how those things affect their daily life. And that's me in a nutshell. I have 4 children. We live out in the country in North Dakota. We have pigs, and we're just working on building a business to help families and help them get to their goals and their dreams. And how much it has changed my life equips me to help other people that were in the position that I was when I started doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So, what are some of the biggest hardships that you see people going through? What are some of the causes or some of the reasons that they end up there?
Honestly, right now in our economy, it's not even like that it's a spending problem or a them not being diligent with their finances. It's more everything is super expensive right now, and people are using credit cards to just survive, honestly. We have this problem where our income is not keeping up with the cost of living at the moment. You get a 3% raise, but if everything's going up 10%, is it really a raise? I do still work a full-time job too, and I can use my job as an instance. Like I got a 3% raise, but my insurance is going up. And
Mhm.
that seems to happen every year. So it seems, yes, we're getting raises, but are they really keeping up with inflation? And so that kind of creates a problem. Like, they need more income coming in their house almost. And that's why you see a lot of people are working 2 or 3 jobs, or they're doing like a side hustle, or they're working on building a business where they're more in control of like their time and how much they can actually make by what they put into it. And that's why I'm so happy, like where I'm at, there are no quotas. I don't have to do a certain amount of something. I can control who I'm meeting with, when I'm meeting with them. I work my schedule around my kids' activities and even my existing full time. I call it my full time side job because I don't want to be doing this forever. I love being able to help people, but I also feel like I have a platform to educate people in not just this, but even the things that I'm learning about dealing with like autism. My son was just diagnosed in December, and we are going through all of that. And there's a lot to navigate even with that, whether it be financial things or just navigating the services that are available in different places. There's not a pamphlet that's given to parents, but because I have a background in healthcare, I can help parents at least navigate the insurance aspect of it and tell them, okay, this is what you need to ask your provider or your insurance company. What services do you cover? What do I need to have done? X, Y, and Z, because I'm finding that a lot of people don't know the questions to ask. So I'm still navigating my journey on what I'm meant to help people with, but I feel like it's starting to show me its path the more that I'm doing this. And I love that.
Yeah, and I think too with our journeys, I think they're always evolving because we're always evolving. So there is time where it shifts and it changes. And I really just want to say I love the fact that you brought into the conversation that it's not necessarily even a fault of someone, like that they're not necessarily even doing something wrong. Because I know I've talked to a few financial people that are like, then you're not managing your money right, and you're not doing this, and you're not. And yeah, it might have been 6 months ago, but even at that, I think even since COVID, things haven't kept up. We haven't been able to keep up with how fast things are growing and expanding and how much everything's rising in prices. And I know we have struggled with a little bit of that at times where it's okay, we got to really tighten things up, but where do we tighten? How do we do that? Because sometimes you can't cut anything out of the budget. Like there's just no extra space. So I love that you come in with that because I think it's important for people to hear.
Well, and not only that, like in that aspect, I feel like too, a lot of people don't realize at times, if they're not tracking their budget, that they might have a bunch of subscriptions that are coming out of their account. I know when I started doing this, I had $250 in subscriptions coming out of my account because I had Amazon Prime. Oh, they have a trial. I'm going to sign up for that. And then I forget to cancel my trial. Hold on one second. Let me kick this guy outside. Now he decides to bark, laying
Okay,
sleeping on the couch. Give me 1 minute.
no worries.
Back hurts.
Yeah.
Coughing doesn't help.
No, it really doesn't.
If it's not the kids, it's the dogs. If it's the dogs, then it's the kids.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes, tackling your budget and understanding what is coming out of your house and what is coming into your house is very strategic. I always recommend, like with my clients, if they're not sure what is going on as far as their spending, like their groceries, going out to eat, subscriptions, that kind of stuff, I say sit down and track your stuff for 2 weeks, like everything. The quick gas station trip, when you're going out to eat, make sure you include your tip. Look at what subscriptions you have automatically coming out of your account. And those things can make a difference. Also, calling your utility places and seeing if there's a way that you can move certain services around and get a better deal, or call around to other options and see if maybe they have a better deal. Those are things that I can talk about as far as helping shrink maybe some of the spending. Obviously, that's not conducive to everybody's situation, but those are some of the recommendations that I can to help. Meal prepping has been a huge game changer for our family. I Most of the time I'm good at it. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl. But crock pot is my favorite thing, in the Instapot. I love the Instapot because I can just throw my stuff in there frozen if I forget to take it out, and
Yeah.
it's done. We've got a meal. But those are things that have helped me. When I started doing this, I had a family of 7 because my daughter was living here with her daughter, and then I have my husband and our 3 other children. And so groceries are expensive, and shopping the sales that are in your area. I don't know that coupons are a huge thing anymore, but if anyone has like the Fetch app, you can get points and then turn around and get gift cards too. That would be a great suggestion for somebody that has like a big family. That can help too.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, for sure. You said something at the very beginning, and I think that I see the same thing, is that people get very stressed about money, especially now. And so having being empowered to be able to take control of your finances would be so helpful for people with anxiety or depression or marital problems. Finances comes up so much when we're talking about couples counseling. And it's like sometimes one hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing. And so there's ways, you're talking about ways that you can even create a stronger bond between two people just by moving through this together and both becoming empowered at the same time to take control of their future. Because I think so many people don't save like they should, or like they could. We don't want to should people, like they could, because they either don't know how or they don't know what. And you're right, like these skills are no longer taught, like even from parents. So I did make my son take a finance class in high school. Luckily, they offered one. So I was like, you know what? This is a good opportunity for you to do that. I remember my dad, and I'm way older than you, but I remember my dad sitting me down and being like, here's what a checkbook is. That's how old I am. Here's what a checkbook is.
Oh,
Here's
you
the
look good.
ledger.
I said you look great.
Thanks. But here's the ledger. Here's where you enter it. All of that stuff that we just don't do anymore. Have me write checks out, and he would have me help him balance the account. And just having that visual That's why when you're saying, like, I used to do like a spreadsheet for my budget all the time when I was like really tight on money, and I'd put all of my static expenses in there and then have room for the things that would fluctuate. And then my little spreadsheet, because I used to be in business, so I used to do Excel spreadsheets. My little spreadsheet would be like, here's how much you have at the end of the month. And I'm like, I hate that. Where can I cut it? So having somebody to just mentor and walk you through that for people who don't know would be amazing.
Absolutely. And that's just where it starts, like having that hard conversation. Like, I don't know where to start. And you talking about couples, my husband and I were in a not great place when it came to talking about money. We all have money blueprints and how we do things. And a lot of it is ingrained to us as we watch our parents do certain things, the things that we're taught as we're growing up. My blueprint is I'm a spender. I am not very good at saving. I was not, which I'm getting better, but I know that I use that as like a crutch for a lot of things, like to deal with I'm sad. Oh, I'm going to go shopping. Oh, I'm happy. I'm going to reward myself. Where my husband was more like he's a saver. Before we got together, that guy was great at saving. And then we got together and whew, spent a lot of it. And it was on just for us, it was for me, it was like needless things that I didn't need, like really just buying a lot of material things because I thought it was going to make me happy. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't. But understanding even like your money blueprint, there's a book called The Millionaire Mindset that talks about your money blueprint a lot and how a lot of couples and just people in general don't understand their money blueprint. And that book shifted the way that I looked at things also. You can get it on Audible or Amazon, and I highly recommend anyone that's starting to want to understand like their finances or just how they think about money. That book is a great mind shift for you. And not only that, like exactly like you said, it does empower people. My husband and I discuss big purchases now versus where before we didn't. We have two different savings accounts and we're actually investing a little bit of money. And we both have retirement through our jobs, life insurance outside of our jobs also, and life insurance on our kids. If you would have told me 2.5 years ago that I was going to be putting money towards like life insurance, I probably would have laughed at you because I was like, what? No, I didn't realize how big of a need that is either. I was like, oh, I've got $60,000 through my job. I'm good. Most jobs don't offer anything that's going to go with you after you leave. And I think that's also like a big thing that people need to understand because that is also not taught to us. Like life insurance is for people that can afford it. Sometimes you got to move things around so that you can afford that because at the end of the day, if you're taking care of a family and something happens to you, what is going to happen to your family when that income is gone? There's going to be stress, even more stress than just grief on that person that's taking over that aspect. You might lose, your family might lose their home, especially if you're like the breadwinner. It all things that, yes, it is so important for couples to talk about as they're getting started and getting into like marriage, but even if they didn't have it at the beginning of their marriage, they should definitely sit down and have those tough conversations because it will alleviate so much unknown for them and give them more confidence as a couple and just themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say I didn't even think about life insurance at all until my son's dad passed away unexpectedly. It was a couple years after we got divorced, and he did not have life insurance, so there was nothing for me and then or my son. So as soon as I could, I was like, I need to get life insurance. I need to let him be prepared and taken care of, not just physically, but financially, if something were to ever happen to me, because it was completely unexpected. We never know what's going to happen. Like you're talking about, what, what if somebody gets in a car accident? Like you can't guarantee anything. So yeah, I love that you're talking about that with people because I think so many people do think it's like an extra expense That's something like your words were for people who can afford it. And I think that's very much
Yep.
the mindset. But it can also be an investment, like you're talking about. And I don't think people even know that exists. They think you're just paying a premium and then all insurance. We're hoping that we need it. The insurance company is hoping that we don't. And life insurance can be wholly different than that.
Oh, very much. I actually have what is called an indexed universal life insurance policy for myself, and then all four of my children have them. And with that, the cash value is there. I can use it later on down the road, take a loan against it, and not have to pay taxes on the loan that I take out. If I pay it back, there's interest that comes, but if I need it. Not only that, a lot of even like term benefits that we work with, the companies that we work with, are living benefits, which is huge because, like you said, you never know what's going to happen. You could end up with a terminal illness and not know how you're going to sustain your life while you're trying to recover and feel better after going through chemo and radiation. And those things wreak havoc on your body. And how are you going to be able to go to work? That shouldn't be a stress at that point. But if you have even a term policy that has living benefits there for you, you can borrow against a certain amount of that death benefit to help take care of yourself so that you're able to recover and or be able to enjoy like your last months of life here. If it's that case, you obviously don't want to think about those things, but it, unfortunately, it does happen. I just lost my cousin in January who was in her 40s. She got a really bad case of pneumonia and she passed away. She was almost 5 years cancer free and then found a little thing here and was going through chemo and it depleted her immune system and it wreaked havoc and she's no longer here with us and that it breaks my heart. But even if people can't qualify, say for they have an illness, that kind of stuff, there are options for even that. There's final expense insurance through a bunch of different companies. And even if it's just being able to pay for a service for yourself, that will lighten the burden on your family. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know nobody wants to think about those things, but sometimes it's just necessary to plan for the future and think about what will be left behind for the rest of our family.
oh,
It's
very,
really
very
important.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amber, if you had to give somebody like 1 to 3 tips on just what they could do right now? You've given us a lot, but I'm just thinking, what is something that somebody could just take as a big takeaway from this that they could do to get their finances in better shape right now?
So, my two biggest things is make sure you have proper protection in place because that is very important. And start saving just a little bit. Pay yourself first, even if it's $20, and put it into a high yield savings account because you'll get more than just your normal traditional savings account. And then once you accomplish those things, if you have retirement through your job, make sure that you're doing up to the match. After that, take that other money and put it someplace else, whether it be you open up your own Roth account outside of your job, those kind of things, but utilize it in a different avenue. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket because, as we see right now, the stock market is doing some crazy things. A lot of people put all their eggs into one basket, and then you end up with 2008, where people lost a lot of their retirement. I was just getting started as a young adult, so I remember some of that, but I remember a lot of people losing up to 50% of their retirement accounts. And also just being mindful, if you're not sure where to start, look at what options your retirement account has, and you can move it into something that may be a little bit less risky versus depending on your age too. Those would be my big things. And also, if you have old retirement accounts laying around from other jobs, don't just leave them sitting there. Find somebody that can help you with doing what is called a rollover and put it all into one place. And if you have enough money there, I highly recommend looking at annuity options because they protect you from the downside of the market. And that is protecting what you've already grown there. And you also get the upside, like up to a cap. And there are amazing products out there that will give you guaranteed income for the rest of your life once you're ready to start taking distributions from there. So those are the big things that I would highly recommend. Make sure that you're saving, make sure that you're protecting your family, and making sure that you have that long-term retirement set up so that you don't have to go back to work once you're ready to retire.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Kristen, do you have any other questions for Amber or anything?
No, I feel like Amber's very knowledgeable and she's covered the basic bases that I think most people would need to know. And I really think that a lot of people don't know these things. And again, that comes from our parents and what's our blueprint. And I love that word. I love the blueprint word because obviously there's a mental health blueprint too, but there is a financial blueprint. I love that. And I think that there's just a really big need for the services that you provide, Amber. So I'm so glad you were able to come on and give us and our listeners some of this information today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me, and I have totally enjoyed this. I was actually telling my daughter before, as I was getting ready to come on, I was like, I'm so excited to do this today. Because 2.5 years ago, this would have so not been me. I wouldn't have done this. I would have been like, hi. But I've come out of my shell so much, and Jennifer has been an amazing person that kind of helped me even more get out of my shell and understand certain things that were going on and that were holding me back. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate you both. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And if your listeners ever happen to have any questions, they can sure message me or email me. My email is arosebi@hotmail.com. I check my email all the time. I check my junk mail, so if it's flagged, I don't miss those even. They are more than welcome to message me.
Perfect, because that was my last thing was I was going to have you tell our listeners where to find you, and then it'll also be in the show notes. So they should be able to just click on a link and shoot you an email real quick. But Amber, this has been amazing and great. And we just love having guests on here, and especially guests that give our listeners real world advice, not just something, I don't know what the word I want is, something out there, something we want something tangible, and you provided that. And so thank you so much for being here. And to all of our listeners, thank you for joining us today. And we will see you again next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you for being here with us today.
If today's episode hit home, don't just keep it to yourself. Subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Because everyone deserves to know their worth.
Next week, we're diving even deeper with more insights and tools to help you break free from limitations and live authentically.
Until then, keep raising your standards, owning your worth, and embracing your value.